The one thing too that I love about your kind of like production journey, and honestly one that I'm like super fucking jealous of, because I've never been able to do like the lo-fi minimal thing.
Yeah.
I struggle with that because
Yeah.
I'm such like a pop producer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like maximal,
Yeah.
and it's such a thing. But how do you find yourself blending lo-fi and hi-fi production techniques? I think you do it really well on the David Kushner stuff.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about later, the Dean Lewis Empire record, is pure hi-fi.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
If
Thank
you
you.
listen to that and some of your older stuff, you're like, how is this the same fucking producer?
That's exactly what I'm going for. That actually means so much. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no, dude. But yeah, kind of what do you like? How do you try and find that balance?
To be honest, if you just like look, if you listen back on my discography, it seems like I like am doing this like balance between on like different records and stuff. You can just see a linear progression and just me getting better at producing.
So you're just like getting more hi-fi.
I'm not like really doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like obviously the lo-fi stuff, I'm like doing, it's obviously supposed to be lo-fi.
Right.
But that's like me trying to do hi-fi lo-fi. My production skills were just not
there.
Just not there.
At least in your opinion. In my opinion, they were there, but it's just.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying as a matter of like good or bad. I'm just saying like objectively, like I was like bad at getting the high end out of stuff or like into stuff. It's all mids. Not because like I'm going for that necessarily.
But it's so funny because like I'm constantly being like, I want more mids.
Yeah,
I need that meat.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny.
So and now I like to think that I'm at a point where yes, like I can work in the lo-fi as necessary, but like even some of those David records, and it's all good because I still listen back on all these songs. I still love how they sound.
Yeah.
So I'm not like dumping on the production at all, but like the David songs aren't necessarily supposed to sound lo-fi.
Right.
Like, and they ended up sounding that way, and it's fine and it's great. But I just on Burn, for example, as one of the David songs that I produced, and it was in my like studio in our first house in LA that was just like so heinous, and I was the echoiest room ever, and everything's done on an SM7.
Right, there you go.
And I was doing it through a Focusrite, I think, or actually I don't even know if it was a Focusrite. It was like a $200 interface, so it's gonna be some level of lo-fi anyway, and so I guess the answer to your question is it's really not that conscious.
Yeah, it's impressive, man. Just and if you kind of look at it in that lens, you're hearing your metamorphosis into okay, this is how I get things to sound good.
For all the A&Rs listening, I'm now a really good producer, and I can make any sound that you want.
Dude, yeah, I was really. I mean, we're gonna talk about the record later, but I was so impressed with the Dean Lewis record.
Thank you. I was really proud of that.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. Are you still in FL?
No, I switched to Ableton like a year and a half ago. I was doing all the David songs in FL Studio.
Wow.
I was working on some collab records with Hade and Chance Pena, and we did the whole thing in FL Studio, and it was all like live tracking stuff. It was like piano, like drums, guitar, like everything in FL Studio. I don't know if you ever used FL Studio.
I've used it so barely.
Yeah, like for people listening who use FL Studio, like they know how insane that is
I'm listening to, I'm like, how did you edit things?
Yeah, no, it was a disaster. Yeah. Like there's like anyway, so after that I was like, can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I switched to Ableton. I already owned Ableton because I was running my live set for it. So that's why I switched to it, and it like changed my life. And I was like, I literally the first day I used it, I was like, I can't believe I just wasted like 10 years of my life.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. I had like help. I was co-producing a record with someone that worked in FL. They like wanted my help doing the vocals, and I was just like, what kind of system is this?
Yeah, no,
like,
it's insane.
FL is sick, but there's just like certain things where I'm just like, I don't know why you would ever
even just like the assigning clips or instruments to like a mixer insert instead of it just being like on the track is like why, like there's literally zero reason for that.
Right.
The only thing I miss about FL is the step sequencer is so sick for programming drums, and I don't know why I guess it's because it works better because FL Studio is like patterns oriented rather than track oriented.
That's what it is. It's like,
but it's so sick for programming drums, and like making hip hop beats in Ableton or any other DAW is like objectively worse.
Yeah, okay.
Like it's just like making like trap drums is just like objectively worse to do in any other DAW than FL. But that's the only thing I miss. Everything else about it is, it's tough.
So you were talking about that when you were doing the David Kushner stuff, everything was like really lo-fi just because of a lack of equipment and gear.
Yeah.
Where are you at now with gear?
I'll amend just to say, obviously I like how lo-fi stuff sounds. Like some of it is like me trying to make it lo-fi-y, but it's, Anyway, I don't know.
But anyway, no.
Yeah.
But now that, I'm sure you have a little bit more money in your pocket. Like, are
Yeah.
you starting to build out more outboard gear stuff? Or are you still, I like doing things in the box?
No, I'm like, now I've gone like kind of the total opposite direction. At least as far as like, I am putting like a million mics on everything.
Yeah.
And everything is like very acoustic. I still don't have, I don't own like a, I don't own like a preamp.
Right.
Like I do have a preamp because I use it for the inputs. Like I have like an Antelope, like 8-track, whatever. And like I run everything through like UAD now and stuff, like not Focusrite, but so that's where I'm at. So all my
you're more
processing
investing
is in the
like
box.
mics.
Yeah. And not even that I have a ton of super nice mics. I just have a ton of mics.
Yeah.
That I use most of them for
I would
stuff.
honestly, I'm a firm believer that like you need like a nice mic.
Yeah.
To get vocals because people just expect that nowadays. You never know who you're going to work with. But I kind of like collecting random mics and stuff just to like see like, well, this will sound different. Like I can make it's easy to make things sound good. But like when I want to make something sound interesting.
Totally.
That's where like having a cool mic collection really comes.
I'm the exact, like I have one nice mic. I have a Sound Deluxe U99.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah, no, I know that mic. Yeah.
I use it because a producer I worked with for my own stuff, Noah Conrad. I don't know if you know him.
I don't know. Yeah.
He has 5 of them at his studio.
Yeah.
And he uses it because Ryan Linville uses them, and he uses them because Dan Niagara uses them.
Yeah.
I think famously, Dan Niagara uses them. Wasn't easy to find one.
No, they're like really rare.
Yeah.
Because I worked with Dan like years ago, and I saw that's the mic he had that we recorded on. I was like, "The fuck is this, man?" He's like, "Yeah, this random mic."
Yeah, I love it. I that's why I got it, is because I love using it with Noah. And I got mine like 2 years ago. It's probably way harder to buy now because he did a mix with the masters.
Yeah, and he mentioned it. Now everyone's, we got to get that mic. I guess we got to, that's like the secret. And it's, okay, guys.
Yeah. So, anyway, a lot of mics.
What do you like about them? Like, I'm curious because I only got to use it like once years ago with Dan.
Well, the other thing is I've never owned another nice mic.
So,
but I do have it's not even mine, it's Hade's, but in the studio, a Neumann TLM 103.
Yeah.
Whatever the nicer TLM one is.
The 103 is like the $1,000 one that like is pretty.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah.
I hate that mic.
It's very sensitive. That was like my mic for a long time.
Yeah. I just like how my voice sounds on the Sound Deluxe.
Yeah.
And I like how all of the artists that I work with, how their voice sounds on it, and it's a pretty forgiving mic.
Yeah,
and it still has that nice tube. I think it's a tube mic.
Yeah,
tube mic sound.
To me,
but it's easy to use.
From what I've heard, and when I used it the one time, it was like, it's like a very mid forward microphone.
Yeah,
the TLM 103, like famously, like it was used by Billie Eilish on the first album or even 2. And people were just buying it up because of that.
Yeah.
But it's a decently bright mic, and it just picks up everything.
Yeah. I don't even mind it picking up everything because that's also the vibe on a lot of stuff they're doing. But it's like harsh to me.
Yeah. No, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have to, it's just crazy. Like when I have a 47 over here.
Yeah.
When I started using that, I was like, I'm EQing way less.
Yeah.
Going in.
Yeah.
It's just like, it sounds good. I have to like.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I'm using the Sound Deluxe, like I actually a lot of times like just don't even have to like obviously I'm EQ at some point, but while we're working, like I actually don't even need to EQ it.
Well, speaking of this mic collection, what are some of like your other like favorites or go-tos that you're using for like acoustic guitars and stuff? Like,
so acoustic guitar, I'm also tracking into the U99, but I'm doing, obviously I did this song called "Is What It Is" for Chance, and we did 6 mics on the guitar.
Wow.
I did the U99 is the main one, just like on the 12th fret, whatever. Yeah. And then I set up 2, and this will tell you my mic collection as well. 2 KM 184s, like just the stereo pair, set up how you would record a stereo guitar, pretty much. And then I did the TLM 103 as a room mic, and then I did a stereo pair of SM 57s that I had I was using to record the piano, so I just set those up, and that is how I record it, which was like pretty. And I just did it to have options, but then we just ended up using
it was just like,
it.
They're there, might as well just hit record.
Yeah, And so anyway, so those are the main. And then I have also a pair of, oh my gosh, I can't remember. It's a pair of ribbon mics. It's not the Coles. It's like they're less expensive than the Coles. Oh, dude, I can't fucking.
Yeah, whatever. We'll find out. You can always text me later.
It's like the pair of them probably cost like $1,500.
Okay,
so that's like the range
that's the
that
price
they're
point.
In. And that's what I use for my overheads for drums. I actually sometimes like the KM 184 is better for overheads, but I just have them like always on my piano, and I don't like moving them.
You don't want to move them, right?
So I use the ribbons, and usually the ribbons sound better anyway, but they're just like you get a little.
They're just a lot more smoother, and like what they're doing to the transients. It's also I find it more pleasing.
Yeah, and I use one of them to I'm not gonna buy one more actually, so I don't have to move them, but to mic up like guitar amps.
Yeah,
which also is the level of not in the box that I'm doing. Is I'll do a live amp is how. So I'm like, a lot is in the box, but I'm not like DI and stuff.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like your approach, and it's like kind of the approach that I love to take too. It's get good sounds going in.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you don't actually have to do too much in the box.
Totally.
You're just like, cool, this is what it is, and we just move forward.
Yeah, I'd say like most of the vibe from stuff I've been doing recently is just like mic placement and mic choices, and then good song, good performance.